Time Crisis.
In this video, I'm going to show you an affordable 3-pedal option to play all of your favorite Time Crisis games on your home arcade. While there are some great authentic options for around $400 on the market, I ended up going with the Infinity 3 USB pedal thanks to Jose, John, Isaac, and Kevin's discussion in the Arcade One Facebook group, and I got it for around $30 shipped. I will show you an unboxing, how to install the software, picture-in-picture gameplay, my preferred settings, and much more. Was it worth it, or did I make a mistake? Sit back and enjoy. The Time Crisis franchise is one of my all-time favorite arcade experiences. I love shooting the enemies with the gun and ducking behind cover with the pedal. I even tried to replicate that experience at home with my CRT TV, with my PlayStation 1, 2, and 3, the GunCon 1, 2, and 3, even had the accessories to play 2-player co-op. And while back in the day, I had to put a second controller on the floor and press on one of the buttons to duck behind cover to get that true arcade feel, now I'm going to attempt to play with an actual pedal. Here's the box for the VCE Infinity 3 USB foot control pedal. This is what it looks like when you first open the top. And this is what the unit's going to look like when it's sitting on your floor. There's 3 different pedals: the left pedal, the middle pedal, and the right pedal. All 3 pedals are programmable. It comes with a USB cable to plug into the PC for your home arcade. The little adapter came with mine, but I'm not sure if it'll come with yours since I bought mine used, but it is not needed. And here's what the back of the unit looks like. And here's the bottom of the unit that has a nice pad on it to prevent the pedal from sliding around too much when you're using it. The pedal feels very durable, weighing about 2 to 3 pounds. I got my pedal on eBay. You can go to ebay.com and type in Infinity 3 foot pedal and do a search for it. Depending on the supply and demand when you do your search, the prices may vary a little bit, but when I was doing mine, the prices for used were about $25 to $40, and if you wanted a new one, it was a little bit higher. You don't need the box, I just wanted the box so I could do an unboxing. Next up, download the Biped software from the provided website. Make sure to get the most recent version, which at the time of this recording was February 10th, 2021. Save the file to your desktop, and I will also provide the link to this website in the description of this video for a direct link. So if you don't want to write it down, you can just click on that link and go straight to it. Once the file is finished downloading to your desktop, you can right-click on it, 7-zip, extract to Biped. Next, open the Biped folder that was just created, and you can open up the biped2.exe program. Double-click on that, that should fire up the program. In this program, you can change what inputs you want to set for the left, middle, and right foot pedals. So what you're going to want to do next is click on each of the different pedals and then the keystroke that you want that pedal to be when you press down the pedal. So if you want the left pedal to be the A button, then you click on the left pedal and then hit A on your keyboard. If you want the middle to be the Z, you click on it and press Z on the keyboard. And then if you want the right pedal to be L, you click on the right pedal and then you push L on the keyboard. For the examples in this video, I'm going to use the Arcade One settings. So if you have an Arcade One, you can utilize these exact settings. If you have an Extreme Home Arcade, an ARF, or any other home arcade machine that's not an Arcade One, your settings may vary, so you may have to go into some of the programs and experiment a little bit with the different keystrokes. And while a lot of the games do utilize the exact same settings, there are a few games that you do have to come back in here and change them specifically for the game, such as Crisis Zone, which utilizes the right and the left mouse buttons. Or Time Crisis 5 uses 2 pedals, and I also like to map the 3rd pedal as the switching weapons button. I'm going to show some gameplay of some of the Time Crisis games in this video, so I'm also going to note my preferred Arcade 1 settings for each of those games at that time as well. First up, we're going to do the arcade version of Time Crisis. You can play this under the MAME wheel, and this was released in 1995 by Namco. The settings that I prefer for Time Crisis MAME are left set to A, middle set to Z, right set to L. You will need to do one additional step in this version of the game. Once you enter the game, you can pause it and then hit tab on your keyboard. Scroll down to input this machine. Hit enter. Then scroll down to foot pedal, which should be currently set up for your aim track, your Sinden, or whatever other gun you're using. You can hit enter and then press Z on the keyboard. This will make the center pedal the duck reload button for the game. You can now scroll down to return to previous menu, hit enter, and then scroll down to return to machine. Hit enter, and this will exit the tab menu. You can now unpause the game, and you're ready to insert your credits and play some Time Crisis with the pedal. I'm going to showcase the Time Crisis arcade footage on the left, and in the lower right hand corner I'm going to showcase the pedal and what my foot's doing compared to what's happening on screen.
This nation will soon be mine. The taste of revenge is sweet. Your father will pay the price for destroying the Imperial rule. What happened?
We've been invaded.
What?
Never mind. My men will gun him down. There! Shoot him!
Time Crisis is all about accuracy, timing your ducking and reloading, and also doing it all while the clock is ticking, which is up in the tension. If you notice, my foot is not on the pedal, so I am starting behind cover. If I press the pedal, I come out of cover and I can start shooting the enemies. If I release my foot, I hide and reload my gun. So the strategy is to press on the pedal anytime you want to shoot the enemies, and anytime you want to duck or reload your gun, you release your foot off the pedal.
Halt! Action!
If your foot's on the pedal as you transition to the next scene, you'll start the next scene automatically out of cover so you can start shooting right away. But if your foot's off the pedal as you transition, you'll start the next scene in cover. There are certain items in the environment, if you hit them and blow them up, you'll actually defeat all the enemies on screen, like this sequence coming up right here.
Action!
In Time Crisis 1, there are 3 areas in each stage, and at the end of each stage, there's a boss fight. There are obstacles that'll come at you and damage you if you don't duck and avoid them, so to do that, you release your foot off the pedal, like right here. I usually keep my foot on the pedal as I transition from scene to scene, so that way I can take out enemies as soon as the scene starts. However, some scenes like this one coming up right here are ambushes, where you typically get hit if you don't duck into cover right away. And while the game throws a lot of different enemy types at you, the red soldiers are always the most dangerous, so take them out right away if you can.
Reload! Halt! Action!
I feel like the music and the soundtrack of Time Crisis is perfect for the game. It's intense, and there's a sense of urgency to it, where you feel like you need to go faster and take out the enemies even quicker.
Action!
You can utilize the rapid fire approach with the reloading mechanic as well. Unleash your 6 shots as fast as you can, duck behind cover really quick, reload, come right back out and unleash 6 more rapid fire shots.
Action! Danger! Action!
If you shoot certain enemies, they actually give you time bonuses, which helps your score. So Area 3 complete, now it's on to the Stage 1 boss battle. Boss battles will test your accuracy with the gun and your reflexes with the foot pedal.
Don't come! It's a trap! Oh no!
Action! Reload!
Stage 1 clear. We'll wrap up Time Crisis MAME with the final cutscene, and we'll move on to the next game.
It's all over. The girl's at the top of that tower. She must be dead by now.
Next up is the Time Crisis 1 port to the PlayStation 1, which came out in 1997. It has the full arcade, as well as a special mission, which I'm going to play in this video. My preferred Arcade 1 biped settings are left pedal Z, middle pedal A, and right pedal L.
Richard, long time no see. I hope you're ready. Here's your next objective. Your mission is to uncover the plan of the organization Cantaris. This is their headquarters. The hotel is actually a front for their weapons factory. This is their leader, also known as Cantaris. Intel came up empty on Cantaris. We don't even know a real name or gender. However, we do have positive verification that they are Wild Dog's arms supplier. Good luck, Richard.
This game doesn't have a cursor, and the aim is a little off, especially if you get to the left and right edges. I'm not sure if that's an emulator issue, an aim track issue, or my settings, so I'm just going to have to deal with it. And while the arcade version of Time Crisis 1 on the PlayStation 1 disc is the same, where there's 3 areas and 3 stages with boss fights at the end of each stage, the special mission that I'm playing right here is very different. There's actually multiple areas that you can go. Depending on your performance in each area and what you do, you'll go to a different area of this hotel and get different boss fights and different endings in the game. I'm going to play through one of the scenarios and get one of the endings, but there's many more to explore. Like the first Time Crisis, there's certain characters like this orange bellboy running at the top of the stairs, where if you hit him, you gain some additional time. There does seem to be quite a few more enemies in this special mission compared to the original arcade, so you do have to reload more often. You can interact with some of the objects in this game, like the piano over here on the left. I always loved it when arcades came to the home console and added additional modes like the special mission. It's a great touch. So this section coming up with the elevators, if you take out the enemies really quick, you'll go up the elevator to the ballroom. If you go too slow, then you go to the shopping mall and end up in the parking lot below the hotel. Area 1 clear, and because I took so long taking out the enemies in front of the elevator, I'm going to go to the shopping mall next. The special mode is pretty challenging because you only do get 3 hits, so you have your life bar at the bottom. Once all 3 hits are used up, then you have to redo the entire stage. So if you get to the end boss at the end of this stage and then you get killed, you have to redo the entire stage, and you only get 3 hits to get back through it. If you've been paying attention to the picture-in-picture, you can see that the foot pedal is very responsive. Anytime I let my foot up off of it, my character immediately goes into cover. Once I put my foot back down, my character is immediately ready to start shooting with your gun. I like the little touches of shooting the glass and it shatters.
Action! Freeze!
Certain characters throw grenades or bombs at you, so you want to go into cover to avoid the explosion.
There! Shoot him!
Halt!
Just like in the PlayStation 1 Resident Evil franchise, some of the camera angles can definitely make it more challenging.
Reload! 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 Clear! Action! Get him! Fire!
That crane is an obstacle that'll try to smash into you, so you definitely want to duck behind cover so you can avoid damage. So Area 2 is complete. We're going to finally make our way into the parking lot, finish off this scenario with the boss battle and the ending. We're going to see what path we went, and then we're going to move on to the next game.
Clear! Action! Freeze! Action! Freeze!
Just like in Time Crisis 1, you definitely want to take out the red enemies as quickly as you can.
Action! Freeze! Freeze! Reload!
And while these early Time Crisis games just focus on your handgun, later Time Crisis games have multiple guns that you can swap between.
Freeze! Action! Fire!
Some enemies have rocket launchers, and if you don't take out the enemy right away, they'll launch a rocket at you, and you'll have to duck behind cover to avoid damage. You'll also notice the times in the lower right-hand corner. The top one is your current time, whereas the bottom one is the top time on the game.
Action!
Alright, we finally made it to the boss of this scenario, and we'll see if we can take him down.
Action!
The tank is very strong, so you have to hit the weak point, which is the windshield. It's moving really fast, so it is definitely hard to hit. That takes down the boss, but the stage isn't over yet, and we can still succeed or fail the stage based on what we do here.
Action! Reload! Reload!
So depending on how much damage we inflicted on Canteris' car there as she raced at us, we could either succeed the mission and make her crash, or we could fail it and she could get away and escape. I'm going to fast forward these credits, I'm going to see what path we took through the hotel, and then we're going to find out that there's multiple additional paths and endings that we can go back for added replay. Next up, we have Time Crisis Project Titan, which was released in 2001 exclusively for the PlayStation 1. It skipped the arcade altogether. My preferred setting is to have the A button as the middle pedal, and we're going to select Story Mode, which acts as a direct sequel to the PlayStation 1 Special Mission.
Thank you, Zeus, darling. I see you finally found her. We've been reading your email, Marissa, and you've been a very, very naughty girl. Do the names VSSE and Miller ring a bell?
Miller? Who's that?
Don't play dumb with me, little girl. We know you've been sending messages to the VSSE, Marissa.
What?
Or should I call you Abacus? Take our little spy to the engine room, Zeus.
There he is! There! Get him! Get him! Action!
The gameplay in this version is very similar to Time Crisis 1.
Get him! Action! There he is!
One new feature in this game, if you look in the upper left-hand corner, when you get consecutive shots on enemies, if you get 20 in a row on easy, you'll gain an extra life. And on normal, it takes 30 in a row to get the extra life.
Yucks! Action! There! Get him! Action! Freeze! Action! Freeze! Reload! Action! Get him! Where is there? Action! Reload! Fire! Oh!
That completes Area 1. You can actually play this game on easy if you want. However, if you want to see the final mission of the game, you do have to play it on normal.
Where is he? There! Action! Get him!
And while this game is a neat novelty because it was specially made for the PlayStation 1, the enemy encounters and the level design are pretty basic, especially when you compare them to the over-the-top intense action encounters and boss battles that are lurking right around the corner in Time Crisis 2 and Time Crisis 3.
There! Shoot him! Yucks! There!
And just like Time Crisis MAME and Time Crisis on the PlayStation 1, the full pedal works great with Time Crisis Project Titan. Area 2 clear. We'll do one more area and a boss fight, and then we'll move on to Time Crisis 2. Time Crisis loves their shootouts in the hallways, that's for sure. Oh, down to my last hit. Maybe I won't make it to the boss fight.
Hey, I didn't invite you. No. What are you doing here? No. Action.
Time Crisis definitely has some intense boss encounters throughout the franchise. This one against a chef throwing knives at you in a kitchen isn't my favorite. That completes Area 3 of Time Crisis Project Titan. Next up, we have one of my all-time favorite Time Crisis games, Time Crisis 2, released by Namco in 2001. It's a two-player co-op game, the first in the series.
Time Crisis 2.
My preferred settings are Z on the left pedal, A on the middle pedal for ducking and reloading, and L on the right pedal. The PlayStation 2 version of this game has some amazing unlockables, including the Crisis mission.
It's me, Christy. I found some data about the satellite network. Haven't the agents left yet?
Keith and Robert are on their way. No one can beat them.
Keith and Robert?
Well, it appears we have a guest. Looks like we've caught you just in time. A leak like this would have been problematic, to say the least.
A punch like that and you think you're gonna conquer the world.
Silence! You have no idea how perfect our plan is. Now take her away. What the?
Action!
I love how we jump right into the action and even see the Stage 1 boss. There's definitely a noticeable improvement in the graphics on the PlayStation 2, as well as the presentation, the scenarios, and of course these transitions. Going through these balcony doors, the sunlight flashing in your face, you jumping down, hiding behind cover, and then you start the next phase. Unfortunately, the cursor is off, especially as you get to the edges of the screen. Again, I'm not sure if it's because of the emulator, the gun, or my settings, but you can really see here. I have to aim all the way to the left just to hit this guy in the phone booth. The Crisis Flash is a new feature in Time Crisis 2, where the bullet flashes red if it's going to be a lethal hit, giving you a split second to duck behind cover if you took your foot off the pedal quick enough. Time Crisis 2 allows you to play solo or two-player co-op. In the arcades, you each had your own screen. On PlayStation 2, you could play split screen or have your own screen. However, you needed 2 of each of the PlayStation 2s, TVs, copies of the game, GunCon 2s, and of course a link cable to connect the two. I thought it was definitely worthwhile playing through the campaign as both characters, because each character had their own paths, scenarios, and vantage points for all the different battles. It was very neat. Upcoming is another neat transition between shootouts that was missing in the Project Titan game, but it's definitely here in full force in Time Crisis 2. I love the nice little touches of the boss showing up throughout the entire first stage before you battle him at the end of the stage. Area 1 cleared. A lot happened in that first area, but I can't wait till we get to Area 3. It's one of my favorites.
Action!
I love the little details of all this fruit coming out of these barrels as you shoot them. Really nice touch. There's a rumor that Time Crisis 2 was supposed to appear on the PlayStation 1 and the Dreamcast. However, those ports were canceled during development. I can definitely see why the PlayStation port was canceled, because this would have been tough to do on the PlayStation 1. Another attention to detail is I shoot this sign here on the left and it keeps swinging back and forth, even as I transition to the next scene. You can see it swinging. Really cool. So here's a scenario where you and your co-op partner are actually facing each other, and you can cover each other. However, you can also hit each other, which docks you 1,000 points if you do so. So I went through all 4 of my starting lives so I could put in a credit and continue. You only have so many continues until you play through the game enough times and unlock free play. Here's a great example of some of the multiple paths in the game. One character will pick up the machine gun and take on an armored vehicle. Meanwhile, the other character goes down the hallway and takes out these special enemies that give you bonus points. And it may be a lot easier or a lot more difficult depending on which path you go down. Alright, Area 2 cleared. Now we move on to Area 3, which is my favorite area of stage number 1.
They took her to General Diaz, sir.
We gotta stop them now!
Yes, sir.
Area 3, we get to have a high-speed boat chase that culminates in a boss battle. I love the little details of taking cover inside of your boat as your boat sways back and forth, weaving in between all the action. Obviously, it's really difficult to shoot things as you're moving this frantic on the level, but it ups the intensity and it makes it really cinematic. This level was one of the most intense, action-packed, and memorable on-rails levels at the time, and the level intensity still holds up today. And depending on which character you are, you'll go on a different side of this speedboat, cross paths with your partner, and of course you have to take down the boss to finish the level. The boss can definitely be tricky to hit with all the movements of the boats and the ducking behind cover, but this high-speed chase scene boss fight is very memorable in my opinion. Alright, I'm down to my last hit before I have to continue, so I want to finish him off right here, right now, if I can. Nice! That completes the action-packed Stage 1 of Time Crisis 2, and we're going to move on to an even more action-packed Time Crisis 3 next. Time Crisis 3 is also one of my favorite Time Crisis games, as it takes all the intense action sequences and boss battles from Time Crisis 2 and adds weapon swapping.
Time Crisis 3.
My preferred biped settings for Time Crisis 3 are left pedal Z, middle pedal A, which is your duck reload mechanic, and right pedal L. Time Crisis 3 brings back the 2-player co-op, and also the PlayStation 2 version has all the unlockables you'd want, such as Crisis Mission Mode and more.
Here they come. 5, maybe?
No, I'd say 7.
What do you think you're doing here? This is a restricted area.
Stop right there! Oh my god!
After the intense intro, you jump right into the action. So a new mechanic in Time Crisis 3 is adding multiple weapons you can swap between. You have your handgun, your machine gun, your shotgun, and your grenade launcher all at the bottom of the screen. You can swap those weapons whenever you're ducking behind cover and you aim at the screen and pull the trigger. While the handgun has unlimited ammo so you'll never run out, the other 3 weapons will run out of ammo, so you need to shoot certain enemies to replenish your ammo. The more times you hit the enemy, the more ammo you'll receive. These enemies that jump out of the sand will come claw you if you're not quick enough to hit them, so you definitely want to duck behind cover by releasing your foot off the pedal, avoid damage, and then take them out. And just like in some of the other Time Crisis games, there's obstacles to avoid where you have to duck behind cover by releasing your foot off the pedal, otherwise you'll take damage. Another staple of the Time Crisis games is to seek out exploding objects in the environment to save you time by taking out all the enemies at once, just like this. love in Time Crisis 3 they add even more unique scenarios. Like this with all these parachuting guys, hard to hit, but they don't really do too much damage. The more of them that you let pass though, you have to take on later. And they also added additional enemies that have armor that won't go down in one hit, so you have to take down an entire meter before they'll fall. I love the little foreshadowing moments like in Time Crisis 2 with the boss, where you see him early on and then you take him on later. Here you have that giant cannon turret shooting at you. It's gonna take you out, so you dive down into these trenches. Eventually you'll make your way to the turret, and then you can take it out later on in this area. Some more foreshadowing of that cannon. We don't have quite the vantage point that we want, so we stay in the trenches until we can find a better vantage point. The more you play the game and experiment, you'll learn strategies of when you want to use which weapon in which scenario. I like to use the machine gun here for the turret battle. After you're done using the weapon though, you gotta make sure you get back to your handgun. You don't want to accidentally be on your grenade launcher and waste some grenade rounds. Area 1 cleared, moving on to the wrecked ship, which has some new gameplay mechanics.
Seems to be a wrecked ship.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, over there.
Just like in Time Crisis 2, you have so many lives and so many continues. The more you play the game, the more lives and credits and continues you'll unlock. You can even unlock infinite ammo. There are a lot of different strategies that you can utilize for each scenario. I like to use my machine gun here on this Jeep that's coming up to take it out as quickly as I can.
Grenade. Handgun.
We were hoping to escape the wrecked ship right there, but some cargo plane flew overhead and dropped some bombs on us, so we have to go back in and find a new way out. One of my favorite things about the Time Crisis franchise compared to the other light gun games is that while the game is very challenging, it's also very fair. The game sets up these ambushes that are meant to take your quarters, but if you're quick enough with the foot pedal, you can survive them by just taking your foot off the pedal, ducking behind cover.
Action!
Nice little sequence right there where the Jeep crashes through the wall of the wrecked tanker. You can take out the guys, but you'll probably get hit because there's so many guys. Or you can take out the Jeep itself and it blows them all up. Another mini scenario coming up where I prefer to have the machine gun on to take these two guys out quickly. Alan is typically player 1, with Wesley being player 2. If you're playing 2-player co-op, each player will have their own unique path throughout the level, which makes it worth playing through the game with each character, just like in Time Crisis 2. So a quick tip, if you're playing solo on PlayStation 2, but you want to try out Wesley's campaign and see what his perspective is like, you can actually plug your GunCon 2 into the Player 2 port and start up the game and play as Wesley. I always enjoyed how cinematic Time Crisis 3 felt by adding these mid-stage cutscenes that shift the level in the gameplay while also teasing a future boss battle.
Like
slaughter.
There's a little slowdown right here, but I do appreciate the little details with the sunlight coming through the windows and the dust and the smoke in the air. Area 2 cleared, and now we get introduced to a brand new character, Alicia, who is a support character in the main game, but is fully playable in the unlockable PlayStation 2 rescue mission.
You're finished.
Jump! Hurry! There's no time! Come on!
Say goodbye.
He's on our tail!
Area 3 starts off with a bang. Alicia's driving the Jeep, Alan and Wesley are in the back, taking on this giant cargo plane. I prefer to use my machine gun to take these weapons out as fast as I can. This is another action-packed mission, with you being in a high-speed chase in your own Jeep, surrounded by enemy Jeeps. I prefer to take out the enemy Jeeps with my shotgun, but if you're precise, you can use your handgun, take out the enemies on the other Jeep, or even take out the driver and make him crash. You want to rack up as much special ammo as you can by taking out the yellow and white enemies, because you're going to need it for the final boss battle of Stage 1. The grenades are hard to come by, so you want to maximize their use. This is an opportunity that I like to use it. Take out 3 turrets with 1 shot. I'm down to my last hit before I have to continue, so I'm going to try to maximize my sub-weapons here. Not a good time to switch to the shotgun right there. He's too far away. I should have switched to my machine gun. So because I wasted a bunch of shotgun ammo on that boss fight, I ran out. And of course I'm going to take a hit here that I probably could have avoided. I'm going to have to continue up and try to finish the fight strong. Your ammo does replenish for your sub-weapons if you do have to continue. Grenades do massive damage if you can hit the boss with one. However, if you miss like that, it does no damage. So it's risk-reward. This is such a great boss battle. You not only have to fight the plane and the boss carrying different weapons, but then it's goons are jumping down on your Jeep and you have to take them out as well. Very creative, intense, and very fun. And just when you think it's over, it keeps on going. Such a great opening mission, plus there's new sniping mechanics in the rescue mission mode, and much more to unlock. Next up is Crisis Zone, which is a spin-off of the Time Crisis series. The PlayStation 2 version was actually called Time Crisis Zone. My preferred Arcade 1 biped settings are left pedal, mouse button left, middle pedal, mouse button right, which is your duck reload, and the right pedal is L. There are two distinct story modes on the PlayStation 2 version. Garland Square is the arcade version, whereas Grass Market District is specially made for the PlayStation 2. This is the first Time Crisis game where you can select your starting zone.
Dry Creek Plaza.
Crisis Zone has three distinct features that set it apart from the rest of the Time Crisis games that came before it. The first thing you'll notice is that you have a machine gun instead of a handgun, and your machine gun has unlimited ammo. The second thing is you have a shield to provide cover for you. It moves throughout the stage on rails, but you don't hide behind cover anymore. You just duck behind your shield that you're carrying with you. And the third thing that stands out is the level of destruction that you can inflict on the environment. You saw the glass shattering there. When you come into this bookstore here, you can shoot all the magazines off the rack. It's pretty cool. The footage for this game is actually widescreen. I just cropped it so that way I could have my picture-in-picture and the box art in the corner. But if you actually play this game on your home arcade or your PlayStation 2, you can play it widescreen. And while the level of destructibility is amazing in this game, I do feel the game is a little more generic than the other Time Crisis games. And if you actually play the Crisis Zone in the arcade, the graphics aren't near as good as what they are in PlayStation 2, which is surprising. The arcade version of Crisis Zone was just a single-player game, and of course the PlayStation 2 was as well. However, there is an unlockable where you can't unlock a second gun, so one player can have two guns, or a second player can have the second gun, and technically you could play two-player co-op. You would just have different sets of machine gun ammo at the bottom of the screen, but you'd be shooting the same screen. So unlike Time Crisis 2 and 3, where you had the split paths, the split screens, and different scenarios for each character, you would just go the same path that you would no matter which character you were. Which is a little disappointing, because that was one of my favorite parts about Time Crisis 2 and Time Crisis 3. It was worth playing through as both characters. Because the unlimited ammo starting weapon machine gun is overpowered, a lot of the enemies do have the life meters above them, where you have to take out their armor and hit them with multiple shots before you take them out.
Action.
The art gallery is another environment that is definitely worth blowing up everything in the environment. It keeps your hit counter going up, and you keep that combo going. Because you're powered up with the tactical shield for cover and the machine gun for your starting weapon, they throw waves and waves of enemies at you.
The lobby's secure.
The gameplay is noticeably different. In the original Time Crisis trilogy, it's all about precision and accuracy, making every shot count, whereas here you just want to keep that trigger pulled down, take out everything in sight, keep the combo meter going, and rack up those points. So this game, instead of having 3 areas to each stage, there's 3 long stages that you can pick whichever order you want to play them in. Once all 3 are complete, then you unlock the final stage with the final boss.
What's the matter? Sir! Action.
The Dry Creek Plaza boss battle is against this massive armored tank with all these secondary weapons piled on it that inflict additional damage, but you can't individually take them out, which does weaken the tank overall. You definitely want to stay on your toes and get your foot on and off the pedal to duck behind cover because there's a lot of things here that can take you out. So we're halfway done with the boss battle. We're going to go upstairs and see if we can finish off the tank.
Action. Action.
Like a lot of boss battles, the goons come out, and you definitely want to take them out as fast as you can and get back to inflicting damage on the main boss. The tank's definitely a lot easier once you can take out all the side henchmen and all the different weaponry on the tank. Now it's just the main cannon against me, and I can duck behind cover once it's charging up, and then come back and inflict maximum damage. The tank's almost defeated. It's the last stand. Time to finish it off once and for all. That completes Dry Creek Plaza. Now we can choose our next zone and clear that one out as well. Definitely a fun change of pace, although I wouldn't want every Time Crisis game to be like this one. Time Crisis 4 and Time Crisis Razing Storm were part of a new update on the Arcade 1 that required a more powerful PC than my i5. So unfortunately, I am not able to run these 2 games on my current build. I did reach out to Jose in the Facebook group, and he mentioned that Z was the duck reload button for Time Crisis 4, and that the L key was the duck reload button for Time Crisis Razing Storm. For the games that only have one pedal mapped, I always prefer to have it as the middle pedal. So based on that information, my preferred settings for the Time Crisis 4 would be the middle pedal with the Z key. And then my preferred settings for the Time Crisis Razing Storm would be the middle pedal as the L key. Time Crisis 4 is a numbered game in the franchise, so it plays a lot like Time Crisis 2 and 3. Meanwhile, Time Crisis Razing Storm plays more like Crisis Zone.
I'll provide your support.
Action.
Next up is Time Crisis 5, released by Namco in 2015 exclusively to the arcades. Time Crisis 5 is the first game in the franchise that utilizes 2 pedals to duck behind cover, either on the left or the right.
Time Crisis 5.
My preferred biped settings is set in the left pedal to O so you can change weapons, the middle pedal to Z so you can duck to the left, the right pedal to X so you can duck to the right.
What a waste of a perfectly good resort hotel.
All right, vacation time's over. We're here to seize the silver case in Wild Dog's possession. Robert's our negotiator. You're his backup. Got it?
Got it. Yeah. Are we ready?
Robert, enter Wild Dog's room.
Don't mess this up, Chief.
Cut the chatter!
Entering the room.
How nice of you to come.
Sorry, no go zone beyond this point.
Anyone sticking their nose in is liable to get it broken. What? What do you say to a light warm-up before we get down to dog catching?
Sounds great.
So the preferred starting position typically flashes like the right pedal, so if you notice in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, I actually step on the far right pedal for my ducking and reloading. Notice I can't hit these guys behind cover though, so I need to hit the left pedal, which is mapped to my middle pedal on my Infinity pedal.
Bulletproof shields!
Action!
It does take a little getting used to swapping between the pedals, but once you get it down, it's very effective.
Something's up with Robert. Move it! Her cover's blown.
Storm in, just like we planned.
Don't let Wild Dog escape! Action!
The playable characters Mark and Luke are new to Time Crisis 5, as is Catherine, the support character. However, Robert and Keith, they were playable characters in Time Crisis 2, with Wild Dog being a reoccurring villain throughout the entire franchise.
Forward!
Sometimes pressing a different left or right pedal can uncover some hidden areas. Like these canisters here, you can blow up and take out some enemies. Like Crisis Zone, this game's also widescreen, but I just cropped it for the sake of this video. Area 1 complete. 3 areas per stage, including a boss. Time Crisis 5 originally released with 3 stages. Later, the True Mastermind Edition released with 3 additional stages.
We've got company over here too.
Like Time Crisis 2, 3, and 4, you can play 2-player co-op, and it's worth playing as both characters because each character has their own pathway through each of the stages.
Chopper down! It's falling your way!
Time Crisis 5 adds a new evade sequence where you have to press on the correct right or left pedal depending on what pops up on screen.
Action!
If you succeed, you're rewarded with the opportunity to take out a bunch of enemies in slow motion.
I'll keep providing air support.
A lot of the scenarios are specially built for the 2 pedals. Like this one with the water fountain, the water sprays up, so you have to go right or left depending on where the water's not at, and then you get a clear vantage point of your enemies. Another new mechanic to the Time Crisis franchise is the Crisis mechanic here, where time slows down, you're basically bullet time, and you have to hit these targets in order to advance.
Pesky little flies! Action!
The quicker you take out the targets, the more bonus points you will score. And here is the first time we get to pick up additional weapons, just like in Time Crisis 3 and 4. I like to map the weapon swap mechanic to the far left pedal.
Action!
You can run out of ammo for each of your special weapons, so you only want to use them in strategic situations.
Handgun. Machine gun. Hacks! Shoot the red tank behind him! Action! Go around!
This enemy's weak point is the red tank behind him, so it's critical to utilize your right and left pedals to get behind him, and whenever he's exposed, do as much damage as you can. Area 2 complete. Moving on to Area 3, we're going to finish off Stage 1 with the boss battle, and that'll finish off our Time Crisis 5 coverage as well.
Grenade. I'll figure out where the smoke's coming from. Shoot through the smoke.
You've still got some fight.
So I just ran out of lives, and since this is an arcade game, the only way to continue is to put in some money and credit up. A lot of these areas in this level are specially crafted for Time Crisis 2 and the 2-foot pedals. One of the pedals will make you go up above, and the other one will keep you down below. There'll be smoke that'll come, so it'll make it hard to see, so you'll definitely want to switch pedals.
I'll go meet up with Kathy.
And this brings us to the Stage 1 boss fight.
Die where you stand. Machine gun.
Are you insane?
Action.
You can't win a straight-up battle.
This walking fortress has weak points and weapons everywhere, so you want to utilize your right and your left foot pedal to dodge all the weapons that are firing and take out the weak points that are exposed. And while this first boss fight is reminiscent of the Armored Tank in Crisis Zone, there are plenty of over-the-top, intense boss encounters with human characters, just like in Time Crisis 1, 2, and 3.
Machine gun. I'm tired of you.
Head to the upper floor.
Stand still for a second. I'm gonna blow you away. Action. Fast. Danger.
The boss meter on the left side of the screen indicates that we're in Phase 2 of the boss battle. Business is definitely picking up. There's a lot more things to dodge and a lot of weak points exposed. Lost all my lives again. Another credit up. Time to continue.
Danger.
Now we're on the final phase of the boss battle as indicated by the boss meter on the left side of the screen. One more meter to go, and it's victory. So the last weak point's on the opposite side on the top of the tank. We have to wait it out and utilize our left and right foot pedals to make our way around. That completes Stage 1. There's 5 more stages with action-packed chase sequences, insane boss battles, and surprise twists and turns along the way.
We did it!
Great.
Oh man!
Hop on quick!
We may have underestimated this guy.
We'll follow him.
And while I bought this foot pedal to play the Time Crisis games on my home arcade, there are actually other games that can also utilize it, such as Cobra the Arcade. This is a game that features the exact same duck reload mechanic that the Time Crisis games have, so all you have to do is figure out what buttons do that and map those to the biped settings, and then you can utilize it just like you would a Time Crisis game. And there are plenty of other games out there that do not use the duck reload mechanic, but you could still map other functions to the 3 pedals if you want to experiment. For example, you could put the reload on one pedal, you could put a throw grenade button on a pedal, you could swap weapons with another pedal if you want. Play around with it, see what games work really well with it, and what games don't. If you find a game that works great with the pedal, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll add it and maybe do a future video on it.
Time Crisis.
And that brings us to the end of this video. I wasn't sure what to think of this Infinity 3 foot pedal at first. Because the price was so low, is this going to be cheap plastic junk? If I step too hard on it, is it going to break? To my surprise, it was solid, durable, and definitely affordable. And the software was very easy to download and install and map each of the different games. Sure, it might be a little bit more complex if you want to try to integrate it into Hyperspin or Big Box, but that's for another video. I just wanted to tell you about this foot pedal, how awesome it was, how well it worked, and I definitely want to give one more big shout out to Jose, John, Isaac, and Kevin from the Arcade One Facebook group. Because of you guys, I decided to get this and try it out, and I definitely didn't regret it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informational and beneficial for you. Let me know down in the comments below what your favorite Time Crisis game is, and are you planning on trying out the Infinity 3 foot pedal on your own home arcade? If you liked the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Also, ring that notification bell to get all my future videos. And if you are in a position that you would like to donate directly to the channel, I have a PayPal link in the description below. Go ahead and click on that. Thank you for all of your support, and remember, we're in the endgame now.